Money can buy almost anything, power, privacy, protection, but it can't buy time. One moment they were flying high, literally.
French billionaire politician Olivier Dassault has died in a helicopter crash in France's northwestern region of Normandy.
The next, a routine drive, a luxury yacht, or a private aircraft turned into the final chapter.
The owner of Leicester City Football Club was on board the helicopter that crashed and burst into flames just minutes after taking off from the King Power Stadium last night.
No assassins, no conspiracies, but just sudden, brutal accidents that even unimaginable wealth couldn't stop. Brace yourself for the shocking stories behind billionaires that died in tragic accidents. James Crown came from old money. His family, the Crowns of Chicago, had been building wealth for over a century. His grandfather, Henry Crown, co-founded Material Service back in 1919, which became the world's largest distributor of building materials. But the Crowns didn't stop there. They owned Rockefeller Center. They owned stakes in the Chicago Bulls and New York Yankees. They owned ski resorts in Aspen. Forbes estimated the family's total wealth at over $10 billion. James Crown was a Chicago fixture, a philanthropist, a civic leader, a man beloved by the city. On June 25, 2023, Crown decided to do something thrilling. He drove to Aspen Motorsports Park in Woody Creek, Colorado, to race. It was his 70th birthday.
Jim Crown was killed in a car crash at the Aspen Motorsports Park in Colorado yesterday.
As he negotiated a curve on the racetrack, he lost control of his vehicle. The car slammed into a wall with devastating force. Crown sustained fatal injuries. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson released a statement.
And someone who just on his own time and with his own heart reached out to help so many people across the city.
Jim truly embodied the soul of Chicago. I send my deepest condolences to his family. A man worth billions, a man with everything, died on his birthday doing what he loved. Sometimes that's all it takes.
Trustees of Tata Trust, who have retired from Tata Sons after multiple extensions, have refused to give up participation.
Cyrus Mistry came from one of India's most powerful families. His great-grandfather, Palonji Mistry, founded Shapurji Palonji Group in 1865. The company built palaces for sultans. It built skyscrapers across India. The family's stake in Tata Group, one of the world's largest conglomerates, made them worth approximately $16 billion. Cyrus Mistry rose to become chairman of Tata Group in 2012. He was at the pinnacle of power in one of Asia's most influential business empires. But in 2016, something changed. The board voted him out. No confidence. He challenged the decision in court twice. Both times, he lost. The humiliation was public and complete. Just months after his ouster on September 4th, 2022, Mistry was driving on one of India's notorious highways, about 60 miles outside Mumbai. The road conditions were poor. The highway was crowded. His car collided with another vehicle. Mistry, 54 years old, died at the scene. His friend, soft drink magnate Jahangir Pandale, also died. The tragedy highlighted a grim statistic. India's roads claim one life every 4 minutes. A man who had commanded boardrooms, who had made billion-dollar decisions, was killed on a highway that had claimed thousands of others. Peter Kelner was the richest man in the Czech Republic. His net worth was $17.5 billion. He made his fortune in insurance, banking, technology, and real estate. He had his fingers in every pie.
Vlastně pro tu celou rodinu jsem udržel do maximální možný míry soukromí, který jsem schopný udržet.
But like many ultra-wealthy men, Kelner craved thrills that only money could provide. Heli skiing in Alaska was his passion, the kind of extreme sport where you're dropped by helicopter onto untouched mountain terrain. In March 2021, Kelner was on a heli skiing expedition near Knik Glacier in Alaska, chartered through the exclusive Tordrillo Mountain Lodge. His Airbus helicopter carried 7 people. Kelner, another guest, 2 guides, the pilot, and 2 crew members. As the helicopter descended, something went catastrophically wrong. The aircraft went down. 5 people died, including Kelner and guide Gregory Harms. 1 survivor, snowboarder David Horvath, lived to tell what happened next. The crash didn't kill Kelner and Harms immediately. They survived the impact, but then came the waiting. Authorities didn't even know about the crash for 2 hours. Help didn't arrive for over 5 hours. Kelner and Harms died from their injuries while waiting for rescue. Lawsuits alleged negligent monitoring and response. A man worth $17.5 billion died not from the crash itself, but from the delay in rescue. Money couldn't speed up the helicopters. Chris Cline was a coal magnate. He built his fortune extracting coal from the earth, and he lived like a man who had conquered nature itself. In July 2019, he was hosting a birthday celebration at his private island in the Bahamas. Guests arrived by helicopter, seaplane, and yacht. The party raged all day and into the night. Cline's 22-year-old daughter Cameron and one of her friends fell ill. Their condition was serious. A helicopter was arranged to fly them to Fort Lauderdale for medical treatment. Cline accompanied them, along with 2 other young guests and 2 pilots. The flight was supposed to take 30 to 40 minutes. Minutes after takeoff, guests back on the island heard a hard thud. In the morning, the worst was confirmed.
A helicopter that was flying toward Fort Lauderdale crashed in the Bahamas on the 4th of July.
The helicopter had nosedived into the ocean. All aboard were dead. But here's the thing, the crash likely could have been prevented. According to transcripts of the pilot's conversations before landing on the island, the helicopter had been experiencing serious mechanical problems. It probably should never have been in the air. In 2022, Cline's family filed a lawsuit against the helicopter manufacturer, alleging the pilots weren't qualified to fly the aircraft. The suit remains unresolved. A man worth billions trying to save his daughter's life died in a helicopter that never should have flown. Joachim Herz was one of the richest men in Germany. His father, Max Herz, founded Tchibo, the iconic German coffee chain that sold premium coffee and ever-changing specialty goods. After Max's death, Joachim and his siblings inherited billions. But the family wasn't unified. Joachim, Michael, and Wolfgang disagreed with Günther and Daniela over the company's direction. It was a succession-style battle for control, played out among billionaires. The public watched the drama unfold. Then, in 2008, it all stopped. Joachim Herz was swimming in Lake Raboon in Georgia, where he owned a home. He swam into a restricted swimming area without a life jacket. An 18-foot motorboat struck him. The boater pulled him from the water, but Herz was unresponsive. He was dead at age 66. A man worth billions, a man who had fought his siblings for control of a global empire, was killed by a motorboat in a lake. After his death, Tchibo scaled back its European operations, but eventually refocused on its online presence. Today, consumers worldwide buy Tchibo coffee online. Herz never saw that future. Olivier Dassault was born into one of France's most powerful families. His father, Cyrus Dassault, designed aircraft for warfare, a legacy stretching back to World War I. Serge also owned the iconic French newspaper, Le Figaro. He owned auction houses and wineries. He was a conservative politician elected to the French Senate. When Serge died in 2018, Olivier inherited his vast wealth and his positions of power. Olivier became president of the Strategy and Development Division of the family aircraft company. He was elected to France's National Assembly. He was a conservative voice in French politics, just like his father. In 2021, Olivier was returning from his vacation home in Normandy by helicopter. He was learning to pilot the aircraft with an instructor at the controls. The helicopter took off from an area not normally used for such operations. Moments after takeoff, the rotor struck a tree. The helicopter crashed. Olivier Dassault and pilot Jean-Claude Bedeau were killed. French President Emmanuel Macron tweeted, "He never ceased to serve our country, to promote what was great about it. His brutal death is a great loss. A man born into one of Europe's most influential families, a man who had everything, died in a helicopter accident moments after takeoff.
Led us to sell the company to Microsoft. We sold Link Exchange in 1998 for $265 million.
Tony Hsieh was different. He was a Mohawk sporting ball of energy who made his fortune selling shoes online. He founded Zappos and sold it to Amazon for $1.2 billion in 2009. But he didn't leave. He stayed on as CEO at a salary of just $36,000 per year. He believed in company culture. He believed in being friends with your customers. He was eccentric, brilliant, and beloved by his employees. In November 2020, Hsieh was at his girlfriend's home in Connecticut. In the wee hours of the morning, after an argument, he locked himself in a shed on the property. The shed contained flammable materials, pool noodles, chairs, a partially disassembled propane heater, cigarette butts, and candles. A fire started. The source remains unknown. Security footage showed Hsieh had locked himself in deliberately.
Releasing some new video, or bigger pictures, from the fire that killed former Zappos CEO Tony Hsieh.
Investigators couldn't rule out the possibility that he had set the fire intentionally. Drug and alcohol paraphernalia were found in the shed. Hsieh was pulled from the burning shed and rushed to a burn center. He died 9 days later at age 46. A man worth over $1 billion, a man who had revolutionized e-commerce, died in a shed fire under mysterious circumstances. The exact cause of the fire remains undetermined. Ken Hendricks made his fortune in roofing. He told Forbes in 2006 that his first job at age 12 was helping his father remodel houses. He founded ABC Supply Company, which became the largest wholesale distributor of roofing materials in America, raking in over $3 billion yearly. He built his empire on solid, dependable roofing work. He lived comfortably with his wife Diane and their 7 children. In December 2007, Hendricks was on the roof of his home in Rock County, Wisconsin, inspecting construction work on the garage. The roof gave way. He fell straight through, sustaining serious head injuries. His wife performed CPR while waiting for an ambulance. He was transported to a local hospital, then transferred to Rockford Memorial Hospital in Illinois. He was pronounced dead at age 66. The irony is brutal. A man who built his fortune in roofing, who knew roofing better than almost anyone, died when a roof collapsed beneath him. Sometimes the thing you know best is the thing that kills you. Wang Jian was the billionaire chairman of HNA Group, a Chinese conglomerate with holdings in aviation, hospitality, tourism, and financial management. The company grew so fast, acquired so many companies so quickly, that the Chinese government put it under scrutiny. By 2021, HNA was facing bankruptcy after being forced to sell off assets and losing $10 billion to embezzlement. Wang had orchestrated many of the acquisitions that would eventually destroy the company, but he didn't live to see the collapse. In 2018, Wang was visiting France on business. He decided to do some sightseeing. He found an outcrop with a low wall overlooking a cliff, a spectacular view. He wanted a photo. He asked a friend to take his picture as he mounted the wall. As his companion readied the camera, Wang simply tumbled backward. He fell 50 feet to his death. A billionaire, a man who had commanded one of Asia's largest conglomerates, died falling off a wall while posing for a photograph. In the days after his death, analysts noted that his death would put even more financial strain on HNA. It took the company over 3 years after his passing to restructure its debts to the satisfaction of the Chinese High People's Court. A man's death became a footnote in a company's financial collapse. Vichai Srivaddhanaprabha was a Thai multi-billionaire who founded King Power, a duty-free retail empire. Starting with just one shop in Bangkok in 1989, he expanded it into a company so dominant that the Thai government had to intervene just to give competitors a chance. In 2010, Srivaddhanaprabha purchased Leicester City Football Club, a Premier League team. Within 5 years, something miraculous happened. Leicester City won the Premier League title, the only title in the club's history. It was one of the greatest underdog stories in sports. On October 27, 2018, Srivaddhanaprabha was leaving King Power Stadium in Leicester after a match. He boarded his helicopter in the parking lot. The aircraft carried 5 people, Srivaddhanaprabha, his staff, and the pilot. Moments after takeoff, something went wrong. The helicopter lost power, but the pilot did something extraordinary. Despite the mechanical failure, he managed to guide the disabled aircraft toward an unpopulated area, away from the stadium, away from crowds. He crashed in a corner of the parking lot. The helicopter burst into flames. All 5 aboard were killed.
Leicester City Football Club was on board the helicopter. They crashed and burst into flames just minutes after taking off from the King Power Stadium last night.
A Sky News cameraman who witnessed the crash said the pilot's final act was heroic. He steered the dying helicopter away from people. Srivaddhanaprabha's legacy wasn't just the money he made or the company he built. It was Leicester City's impossible Premier League title. It was a man who had everything, who had achieved the impossible in football, who died trying to leave a stadium after watching his team play.
He, of course, was a man of wealth, but that wealth did not leave him disconnected from those around him.
Extreme wealth promises safety, control, and legacy, but these stories remind us how fragile life really is. In a split second, fortune becomes irrelevant and fate takes over. No matter how powerful someone seems, tragedy doesn't discriminate. Which of these stories shocked you the most, and do you think wealth actually increases risk or just visibility? If this video made you think, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so we can keep exploring the strange, tragic, and unbelievable stories history leaves behind, together. Thank you for watching.